In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. In Warhammer 40k, Space Marines embody complete and total resolve, strength and discipline. And at the top of that hierarchy stand the Ultramarines, the Emperor's perfect example. Today, I'm going to be breaking down exactly what it takes to be an Ultramarine, from their nutrition to their training to their psychology and the enemies / the reason that they work so hard and are so disciplined in their pursuit of absolute and total victory. So whether you're just a fan of Warhammer or looking to become a true warrior, this video is exactly for you. Welcome to Legends Forged, where I take a deep dive into the lives, training, and philosophy of the greatest warriors known to fantasy.
The boys in blue, the poster child for Warhammer 40k, are an elite chapter of Space Marines, warriors genetically enhanced beyond human limits. 7 to 8 feet tall walking tanks capable of the most outrageous feats imaginable. They're genetically designed to fight space monsters that would rip any of us apart in seconds. I'm talking space bugs, space fungi, and space weeps. The Ultramarines are revered for their tactical genius and their ability to adapt to almost any battlefield situation. They're a shining example of the Emperor's vision for his armies, often considered to be the finest space marines among the Imperium of Man.
But there's more to them than just their strategic minds and the fact that they are absolute units. Ultramarines live by a code of discipline, duty, the Codex Astartes, and absolute and undying fealty to the Emperor of Mankind. Now sure, they aren't the strongest, I think that can go to other chapters, and they aren't the fastest, that's probably going to the White Scars. However, there's a reason why the Emperor calls on them when the galaxy needs conquering.
Two Ultramarines stand out to me as the height of what it means to be a warrior. First is Manius Calgar, chapter master and leader of the entire Ultramarines chapter prior to the awakening of Guilliman. A man that leads with his head as much as with his heart. Towering above most Space Marines, this absolute beast was able to hold out for a full day and night against a full-on orc horde. I'm talking hundreds, thousands, if not tens of thousands, maybe even more bloodthirsty fungal cretins dedicated to one pure focus: battle. He's a man who leads from the front, employs wild tactics and reason, and shows us what it means to be a true warrior. Second is Aenid Theo, a man disciplined by his legion due to unprecedented thinking and the theorization of Astartes on Astartes action. If that doesn't speak to you, then know that it was a big no-no in the world of 30k. We're talking before the current story of the 41st millennium, hell, even before the Horus Heresy ever happened. But ultimately saves his Primarch and earns his respect due to his unorthodox way of thinking. Now, in order to analyze Ultramarine nutrition and training, we first need to delve into the reasons for doing this, as it's paramount. The first step to becoming a warrior is understanding why you fight and what you fight for. Astartes fight for mankind. They fight to protect humanity against the rolling tide of darkness, threatening to constantly engulf the species. They fight for the God Emperor, the one light humanity has left, the one good thing that gives all humans hope in the 40th millennium. No warrior trains without reason. For the Ultramarines, their enemies are as formidable as they are diverse, and it's the constant threat of these adversaries that drives their relentless pursuit of perfection in both mind and body. One of the greatest threats that the Ultramarines have ever faced are the Tyranids, an overwhelming Xenos race driven by insatiable hunger to consume all life. Or, as I previously mentioned, space bugs. Space bugs that constantly evolve and come in numbers that can only be described as upwards of trillions. On the other hand, Ultramarines also face a more insidious enemy in the Wordbearers, one of the traitor legions of chaos. Battle of Calth during the Horus Heresy is perhaps the most infamous encounter between the two. The Wordbearers don't just fight with brute force, they use deception, corruption, and the dark powers of chaos gods to manipulate the battlefield. To face an enemy like this, Ultramarines must be prepared for psychological warfare. Whether it's facing the endless swarm of Tyranids or the manipulative corruption of the Wordbearers, the Ultramarines are constantly tested in battle, and it's this crucible of war that shapes their intense training and preparation both on and off the battlefield.
To maintain their towering physiques and superhuman abilities, Ultramarines would need a diet that far surpasses anything that we can imagine today. Just really think about it. These Space Marines are bigger, stronger, and more durable than any human you can imagine. So that would mean that their nutrition and calorie requirements would be absolutely enormous.
Realistically though, Space Marines are bioengineered to eat pretty much anything and siphon enough nutrients out of the fuel to keep running. Usually this means nutrient paste or bars, specifically triglyceride gel and amino porridge, calorie dense and nutrient rich foods designed to keep Space Marines in top condition. And though I imagine they taste like the color grey or oatmeal biscuits, it probably also makes no difference to the stoic boys of the 13th Legion. They can also, however, eat alien wildlife, toxic plants, and in some occasions, literal engine oil. And the list just goes on. Must be nice to be genetically enhanced to eat anything, and still grow as if your butt cheeks just got their 100th dose of test, eh? One cool fact is that Space Marines are actually implanted with an omophagia, an organ that allows Space Marines to literally relive the memories of enemies that they have cannibalized. Cool, right?
Now when we're talking about training, we're talking about the simple stuff. This means lifting heavy objects, intense cardio, and combat training against fellow Astartes, dummies, or servitors. And for you mindless cretins out there, those are just basically lobotomized prisoners that have been turned into slaves.
With a definite mix of melee training in what I imagine to be the compulsory chainsword, Astartes can also specialize in the desired weapon form, which can include the thunder hammers, power gauntlets, lightning claws, power maws, etc., and force swords, of which the Ultramarines specialize in the gladius variant, probably due to their Roman parallels. But also ranged weaponry, again compulsory being the bolter and the bolt pistol. It's safe to assume that they also train in all other weapons, such as melter and plasma rifles, the flamer, heavy bolter, etc., giving deference again to whichever they prefer. What really sets each Space Marine Legion apart, however, is the human aspect of their upbringing, and the change into becoming Space Marines. Most go through a complete shit show, with death being the outcome 99% of the time. First, all legions choose only the best candidates, the healthiest, biggest, and strongest, most capable of withstanding not only the trials, but also genetic reconfiguration required to become a Space Marine. This is why nutrition is so damn important even before you become an Astartes. Ultramarine candidates go through 2 trials. Number 1, exposure, aka you get flung on a planet completely unfit for human survival, such as an ice world or an irradiated desert with minimal gear, and you've got to survive. So imagine being sent to Antarctica with a light coat, some food, enough to last you barely a day, and you need to travel to safety 3 days away without stopping, and with the added benefit of a polar bear hunting your ass. Then secondly is the challenge trial. This is more like going through a Herculean feat, for example, combat against a full Astartes, powerlifting more than 3 Arnolds, running faster than a cheetah. I think you get the idea. The point isn't necessarily to win, but it's to impress.
Now here's the thing, maybe you've realized that your training and your nutrition aren't what make you a warrior, it's your mindset. When you believe that you can win, nothing can stop you.
The Ultramarines are more than just warriors. They're symbols of discipline, honor, and duty. Their philosophy is rooted in the teachings of their Primarch, Robute Guilliman, and the Codex Astartes, which has guided them for over 10,000 years. This sacred text outlines every aspect of their strategy and tactics, and to deviate it is considered blasphemy in the 41st millennium. However, Robute never intended for the Codex to be set in stone work. A flaw many Ultramarines experience is rigidity. They don't deviate from the Codex, even though it's meant to be a working document, one that evolves over time. It's reasons like that that Aenid Theo got censured and the Ultramarines were nearly entirely wiped out at the Battle of Calth. Guilliman understood the need for unorthodox thinking. Sometimes the logical is outweighed by reality, or as they would say, it's the practical that trumps the theoretical. One other important note to make is the integrations of warrior and society. I believe the quote goes something like this: the society that separates its scholars from its warriors will have its thinking done by cowards and its fighting done by fools. Ultramarines aren't just warriors. They're diplomats. Unlike many of the other Space Marine legions, they integrate with society, having hobbies and downtime other than war.
Now that we've covered their training, nutrition, and mindset, it's time to ask ourselves, can we actually train like Ultramarines in the modern day? While none of us are as big, strong, or have the massive balls to be able to take on the exact things that they can, we can figure out a way to simulate their brutal regime into giving us that disciplined mindset that they have.
For physical training, you'll want to focus on strength and endurance, just like the Ultramarines. Here's a sample weekly workout plan inspired by their regimen. For strength days, focus on compound lifts like deadlifts, squats, and bench presses to build raw power. Ultramarines carry weapons and armor, so this is essential. One important aspect of strength training is focusing on complete stretches and explosiveness on the positive of an exercise, and slow controlled release and stretching on the negative, utilizing progressive overload as a staple in the amount of reps, sets, and weights you do. For cardio and endurance, incorporate HIIT sessions or long distance runs to simulate the stamina needed for prolonged battles. Hill sprints are a great way to increase the explosive, fast twitch muscles necessary for quick movement, while long distance runs, skipping rope, and swimming can increase aerobic capabilities and endurance. Low weight, high reps are also a must to increase muscle endurance and strengthen the fibers in order to last longer. Most importantly, combat drills. Try adding martial art or tactical training to improve agility and combat readiness, mimicking the hand-to-hand skills of Space Marines. I'm mostly partial to Muay Thai myself, this is what I train, but karate and many others do the tricks. Just make sure you're getting some real sparring action. Aside from these 3 pillars, you'll want to learn how to use weapons. In the modern day, melee isn't all that viable, so learning to shoot is a big must. Focus on drills under pressure to build mental stability. When it comes to nutrition, you can mirror an Ultramarine's needs by following a high-protein, nutrient-dense diet. Focus on lean meats and plenty of vegetables to fuel your training. Post-workout recovery shakes, rich in protein and essential vitamins, will help your muscles recover after those tough sessions. However, even though sleep is paramount, Astartes don't really get much during wartime. It's like being in the Navy SEALs' Hell Week 24/7.
Now personally, I like to focus on the PE diet. What that basically means is you need a 1-to-1 ratio of protein and energy. Energy is distributed into carbs and fats. You'll want to give more deference to the fats, so that your body uses it as fuel as opposed to carbs. This means that you're constantly burning fat and keeping a lean physique while not spiking your insulin levels and keeping a metered level of energy throughout the day. Macros wise, what I want you to do is find your ideal weight for your height and basically decide where in that little spectrum of weight you want to stand, whether it's heavier or lighter. There is an ideal area of weight where you can be based on your height. If you're 6'1", it's anywhere between, I believe, 160 something pounds to 203 pounds, something like that. Don't quote me on that one specifically. But essentially, you want to be eating a 1-to-1 ratio of protein and energy. So whatever that weight, whatever your ideal weight is, essentially if it's 171 pounds, you want to be eating 171 grams of protein and 171 grams of energy. Again, like I said, with deference to fats. So that probably means something along the lines of 120 grams of fat and then the rest of that carbs.
An example weekly workout will look something like this. Day 1 in the morning, strength training with a lower body focus, and in the evening, combat drills. Day 2, morning, cardio and endurance training, and in the evening, tactical drills. Day 3 in the morning, combat training, sparring this time. Evening, you want to rest. Day 4, strength training again, upper body focus. In the evening, melee drills. Day 5 in the morning, shooting practice. In the evening, tactical drills. Day 6, do some active recovery, hiking or some low intense cardio. And day 7, go through active recovery again, shooting practice and tactical drills.
Alright, now it's time to take action. I want to see which of you are worthy enough to be in the Ultramarines. Realistically, none of us are going to be exactly on that level. However, that doesn't mean that we can't try our damned best. I've designed this workout to test your endurance, your strength, and your unshakable mindset. Essentially what you're going to be doing is
3 sets. Start with 5 reps of heavy deadlift. Your target weight is to use 1.5 times your body weight for deadlifts. If you weigh 70 kilograms or 154 pounds, this means that you should be lifting 105 kilograms or 231 pounds, and the list goes on. Then you get 1 minute of rest and you go into high intensity interval training. Uphill sprints for 30 seconds and battle rope waves for 1 minute with explosive waves. Then you rest for 3 minutes and do it all over again 5 times. Remember, your goal isn't to finish the challenge quickly, it's to finish the challenge clean. Clean form, clean sprints.
The Astartes training program will by far be one of the most grueling programs that we're going to have on this channel. Now, I don't expect you to follow this exact program to its complete depth. A lot of us have other lives to live. We have things that we want to do and we're not absolute athletes that can work out 3 times a day. However, I've designed this training, this process, the nutrition, and this fact sheet for you to essentially give you an idea of what an Astartes training might look like. Now, I haven't designed this workout for you to follow to its exact depth. After all, these are genetically modified superhumans. My goal with this video was to show you their mindset, the reason why they are the best. With that being said, Astartes are massive because of their genetic modifications. So this entire regime isn't for you to become big and beefy, it's not for you to become the strongest, and it's not for you to become the most enduring. The idea of this is to become absolutely indomitable, in spirit, in mind, in focus. And remember, the key aspects of being an Ultramarine aren't just physical, they're mental. Focus on understanding society and your place within it. Become unorthodox. So if you enjoyed this video and want to see more breakdowns of warriors from fantasy or history, remember to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Let me know in the comments below how the challenge went, and also let me know what other kind of warrior casts you'd like to see me do. I've got some amazing warriors in mind for future videos, so stay tuned and keep training like a warrior.